Hello Green Pistachio family, welcome back to yet another fun-filled and knowledge-packed session at GP World. Today we delve into the world of conscious parenting and the importance of teaching young children sustainability and eco-conscious ways. Today we dive into the power of conscious parenting and why teaching kids about sustainability, conscious consumption and compassion early on is the real game changer. Studies show that children begin forming lifelong habits as early as age 7. So, if we want future generations to care for the earth, we've got to start with the ABCs of eco-love. Guiding us on this green adventure is none other than our special guest, Priti, an expert in early childhood development and a firm believer that big change begins with tiny humans. Hello Priti, thank you so much for having us. First of all, congratulations on your new venture, Womb to World. It must be such an exciting time. But we're also very curious, how does a chartered accountant end up being an early learning expert? Can you tell us a little bit about Womb to World and your journey so far?
It is a revelation for me also, the journey from being a chartered accountant to education. This journey started when my daughter Nitara was born. The journey began with researching on, of course, educating my daughter differently, and it began with a course that was given out by an open learning community in Bangalore, Arohi Life, in a program called Jagrati. Now, that was an unparenting program, and some of the revelations made inside that program were earth-shattering. Children's motivations are so different from ours. The reasons for children to do something are so different from ours. As time grew, I started thinking of an alternative education system where I can put her, and that's when I stumbled upon Montessori. She was the first Italian doctor, woman doctor, and she studied anthropology as well as philosophy, and she built an entire education pedagogy around children by observing, finding the results, and this is not just the children in Italy. She did this across the world, including India. After having read through all of this in detail, I decided to put Nitara into Montessori. COVID struck, and I got a chance to pursue a diploma course in Montessori from Ratan Tata Institute in Bombay, and then there was no looking back. It was while reading this book, which they call the Bible of Montessori, The Absorbent Mind, were the seeds of Womb to World conceived. Initially, I set up Womb to World to help my child and her friends and the community children during COVID especially, but this thirst of mine to help children only grew as time grew.
That is such an inspirational story, and I'm sure many of us can relate. Okay, so quickly, let's jump into early learning, which is your area of expertise, specifically from the point of view of sustainability and also parenting in general. Why do you think it's important to teach children how to live sustainably and to love the planet, and also to love and respect and have compassion for animals and plants and all life on earth?
I would like to remind you of a poetry by William Wordsworth, and he said in that poem, the child is the father of man. Now, what he meant by this is that William Wordsworth felt extreme joy in looking at the rainbow when he was a child. But he felt that same kind of joy, same unfiltered joy, when he even grew into an adult. What does this tell us? That characters are formed in childhood. We always all want to get back to our roots, right, as we grow old. Having said that, as characters are formed in childhood, these can also go in a negative way. I just want to read a very short excerpt from this book, which says, Mussolini and Hitler were the first to grasp that rulers who wished to make sure of a new social order surviving must train people to it from infancy. So what did Mussolini and Hitler do? Whatever the reasons may have been, when you put those ideologies of one nation, one thought, That's how children are going to grow up, albeit it went off in a different direction. But what I'm trying to say is that what is put into children's head as a child is going to stay with that child forever. It's almost as if it's going to be part of that child for the rest of his life. Let me put this in perspective with a day-to-day example. When we go out in parks, every child has the feeling of possessing that flower on the plant or that leaf on the plant. And as adults, most of us are conscious adults. What do we say? Do not pluck the leaf, do not pluck the flower. And maybe the child doesn't. And we go another day and the child does it again and we say it again. How are we going to ensure that the child does not do this on his or her own? Have we tried to build a relationship with that plant for the child? Have we tried to, maybe apart from just saying no, said, can you touch the texture of the leaf? Oh, this one's really waxy. That one's really rough. This one is so smooth. And this one has sharp edges. And look at that flower, fully white. Do you know, white flowers only bloom in the night? It's a story for another day. And do you see that flower? It's got so many colors in it. And what about that butterfly? It's hovering and having nectar from all the flowers. It helps in pollination too. You know what? The leaves make food for the plants just the way mama does for you. Aren't they the most important thing for the plant? When this feeling of possession turns into knowledge and intellectual capacity for the child, it's on that intellectual level where the child is working or interacting with nature. That's when the feeling of possession will go and the child will no longer be interested in plucking any leaf or any flower ever. And make sure children are very, very vocal about how they feel, and they will ensure other kids don't do it. Having said that, do you think this child, when he grows up or she grows up into an adult, she will ever want to harm the environment? Wouldn't she know the importance of environment, and wouldn't she want to protect it with her whole heart? It's simple.
Right. What about Montessori? Do you think that Montessori is an education method or a system that, teaches children how to be conscious of the environment, of the planet, of the world around them? Is that something that's naturally incorporated into it?
Yes, absolutely. Montessori is a pedagogy which is age based. So when we are talking of young children, 2.5 to 6 years, I'm going to call them primary children. These primary children, they have 4 pillars of education. One of them, of course, being language and math. But the third and a very important one is care of environment. And when I talk of environment, it not only includes their school environment where they actually study, but the environment around. So maybe the community in which they live. Most Montessori schools have an outside environment, and they water the plants on a regular basis. They clean the leaves with cotton or sponge or soft cloths regularly. Any of the dried leaves they clean up and put them on the side for the other municipal people to come and pick them up on a daily basis. One of the schools in Mumbai has a beach, and they have done beach cleanup activities as well.
Wow.
So they learn the place where they work, they live, they learn how to respect it by maintaining it on a day-to-day basis, so that every person in their community can enjoy it and enjoy its beauty to the fullest. So that is for a very young children. This is how they ensure that this is inculcated right, at the onset. Now, when we move on to the elementary children, which is above 6 years of age, 6 to 12 years of age, the pedagogy changes to cosmic education, and the very word, as it says, cosmos, it's an education of the world. Language, math, history, geography are not taught in silos, rather they all are interrelated, are interconnected. I'll just give you a small example of teaching them interdependencies. How the biotic and the abiotic components are interdependent on each other. So if we go back to history a little and how Earth evolved and all of that, when the plant kingdom emerged, it was first the grass and the foliage that came, and they say that it made the ground for the larger trees to come and flourish, and humans came at the end to take benefit of all of it. So I think it is our responsibility almost to take care of what has been specially designed for us, and this is what is actually woven into their curriculum.
What are some practical activities that parents and educators can use to teach children about nature and sustainability and working towards a greener future? And how can you integrate this into our usual curriculum of math, science, languages, which is all very structured? So how do you plan to do that through Womb to World?
Yes, so our workshops are designed in a way where along with the knowledge comes the practical work of children, and in this practical work of children we ensure that children are doing it in a sustainable manner, eco-friendly manner. So for example, we took a workshop on Ganesha where children learned how Ganesha's values can be embodied in a day-to-day manner, how to sharpen your intellect versus the mind, and when you use your intellect over mind, how are you going to benefit from it. But this entire conversation went into a direction where children started speaking about eco-friendly Ganeshas. We did a workshop where we actually took children to see the flamingos when they migrate, and as a follow-up activity I had designed a book where they could actually read and learn by themselves and also do scores of activities just by themselves. So it is not something that is only taught to them, they are also encouraged to learn things on their own. Stories, right? Stories of other people working in those areas, stories from which they can learn. So yes, in Montessori we believe we are the storytellers of truth. We present truthful stories but in a fun, imaginative way, so the child gets interested into that particular topic. I am not against children watching media or Netflix or any of those, but they should be responsible choices and monitored by the adult.
What are some challenges that you may have faced in this since the time that you started Womb to World and started working with children as an educator, not just to teach them about sustainability but anything really, and how do you overcome these challenges?
So with my experience of all the workshops I've conducted, I would like to say zero challenges with children. They are so open to learning new things, learning in different ways than what their school teaches them. That's the beauty of it. They don't feel that, oh, that's not the way they are taught in school. They're very open to new techniques as long as they're interested, and that's how I try to make all my workshops interesting for them. The bigger challenge that I face is with parents. If I'm conducting a workshop and at the end of the workshop, if they are not getting a substantial thing that they can carry home, parents are not convinced of what they've really done for those 2 hours in my workshop. However, saying that, conversations with parents, explaining them why you are doing a particular thing in a particular way has always helped, and parents are also open to learning as long as their children are enjoying. So yes, I think educators need to talk a little bit more to parents. And the second challenge that I've seen is that children are not given the choice of deciding whether they want to attend a particular workshop or no. So if there is a series of workshops and they've attended one and they want to attend the other, maybe it's not their choice. So I would really like it if parents give their children a choice to choose what workshop they want to do, because children are extremely perceptive and extremely intuitive, and when they make the choice on their own, they learn so much better and they put all their heart and soul into it.
That was such an insightful conversation. Before we wrap up, what final message would you like to share for parents and educators who want to raise children to become eco-conscious and environmentally responsible adults?
So the first is a generic message: follow your child, follow their dreams, their passions, and making them environmentally conscious. One is take them out more in the environment and take them out more in the forests, in the deserts, in the seas, by the beach, all of that, for them to connect with it. Once they connect and form a love relationship with them, that's when they will really want to protect it.
And just in case you need ideas or don't know what to do, head over to greenpistachio.in for tips, hacks, eco-friendly challenges and everything else that you need to know to make the earth just a little bit greener for our little green champions. Thank you for joining us on this thoughtful journey and getting to know Priti and her new venture, Womb to World. Let's work together to raise a generation of eco-conscious and planet-friendly children that grow up to be the responsible stewards of Mother Nature. Stay tuned for more sustainability stories from Green Pistachio and don't forget to like, follow and subscribe. Until next time, keep it green.